We just have 11 days to that big special day, the general elections of Ghana, comprising the presidential and parliamentary elections. And again, as part of our responsibilities in educating and informing, we have to encourage all Ghanaians who are registered voters to troop to the various polling stations on the 7th of December in 11 days' time, more specifically, to go and cast their vote or ballot. And so you have to choose a candidate of your choice because it is also your responsibility. But we also have to encourage you. We have cash out, goes with the short code *439#. And with *439#, we encourage you to choose option 2. When you choose option 2, as many times as you can, also means that you have to increase the number of tickets you have. And when you do that, when we have the draws with *439#, we can be in a position to say it also increases your chances of winning. And you know that, as always, when you log on to 3news.com/elections, it is the dedicated portal to give you up-to-the-minute information, all things election, not only on election day, but also prior, on election day and thereafter until we have the last vote counted and the final results declared for the presidential elections by the Electoral Commission of Ghana. Right. As you're surfing through 3news.com and subsequently adding the /elections, you should also know that certainly you can also cash out. So you're browsing 3news.com/elections and cash out *439# is on your mind. So we'll give you all data that is there. Very important for you to get the up-to-speed information when it comes to all things election, certainly. And we're grateful that you've joined us. For those who have joined us, please make sure that you share the stream. And we're here just a day after the release of that investigative report following a petition by the Member of Parliament for North Tone Samuel Kujeto Ablakwa by the Commission for Human Rights and Administrative Justice, CHRAJ, on some reliefs that he sought in relation to how, so far, the project has been undertaken. We're talking about the National Cathedral. I have here with me one of the astute speakers for the ruling party, the MPP. Dennis Apian Labiampofo is with the Manifesto Committee for Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. Good morning to you. Thank you for joining us, Dennis.
Thank you very much.
A delight to have you once again in the studio.
I enjoy coming around here. Hope you're good.
I'm okay.
Yeah, you're looking good.
Thank you. Beatrice Annan Fio is a legal practitioner. Beatrice Annan, how are you?
I'm good, Roland. I'm good.
And also is a deputy spokesperson for the John Mahama campaign as well, and a political aide to Alan John Koyo Tremanting of the Movement for Change and subsequently also of the Alliance, regular on the show. The distinguished Nana Yalsapon is here. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Roland. The distinguished I thought was for my boss, Alan.
I didn't add that one.
You didn't add that one.
Oh, sorry.
And, of course.
Please forgive me.
How are you doing?
I'm well.
I didn't see you at our youth concert.
I think I came out standing behind. I was enjoying the music subsequently. Dance. Yes, you know, because of some of these things, when you go and dance too much, they will say that you're aligned. So already,
it was a youth concert.
It's a youth concert.
And then I think it was organized for the Ghanaian youth.
Yeah.
And,
I came here, I saw Hopes and Adoye clad in his yellow and number of so I have to say it was a properly organized concert.
Yes, so bringing together young artists, young talents, and then pegging them with those that are in the mainstream already. And
where is Alan now currently, or where have you taken the campaign?
He should be in the Eastern region as at this morning.
All right.
Yes. And so we are doing the mop-up, and on the 2nd of December, we're going to have the special voters vote, and of course, our security personnel. I know you'll also be voting on the 2nd of December.
Yeah.
Of course, this one is not a hidden secret.
No, I didn't apply for it, so I'll be voting on the 7th.
You didn't apply?
Yes.
So how? Okay, so it means you go to the polling station very early.
Yes.
Like myself.
And cast. Usually, what has always been the case is just because we're working on the day and it's recognized by the various officers of the Electoral Commission, where usually
you get there, you are
we're giving protocol.
It's important. And you have to go cast your vote. I would encourage all Ghanaians
to go and
especially
vote.
those who are doing the special voting, not to forget.
Right.
That is on the 2nd of December, and as they go, they should be considerate.
Which one are you voting on the 2nd?
Oh no, on the 7th.
Okay,
I'll
on the
be
7th.
voting in Bekwai.
All right. I have Gabby Ventures joining us. Bright Tefo, good morning to you. Riches also is there. Justice Amuzu. Kwesi Mensah is watching us from the United States of America. Uncle Charles Thompson, I can already see him, and a number of you as well. Please make sure that you share the stream. Let's have some great conversations today. And it's about the National Cathedral, the recommendations, but more so the findings. We'll take you through the respondents in the investigations, or the Minister of Finance, the Controller and Accountant General, because of some payment that the petitioner, Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa, had raised in that petition to the Commission for Human Rights and Administrative Justice, and the other respondents were the Cathedral Board itself, Reverend Victor Kusi-Boateng, a.k.a. Kwabena Idujemfi. And subsequently, when we go to some of the issues that were raised, you'll find that also the findings of CHRAJ on the Cathedral included that the contract awarded to Ribade by the Board of Trustees of the National Cathedral is deemed to be legal and void, as it also violates Ghana's procurement laws. They continue to say the Board of Trustees subsequently in their support and then also the approval of those decisions did not seek concurrent approval from the Central Tender Review Committee. And as serious as that, it says the procurement breaches also raise reasonable suspicion of corruption and corruption-related offenses. They also add that the PPA board should intervene to cancel the contract for the construction of the National Cathedral, which is between the cathedral itself, Ribade Company, as it has the power to do so, under the specific law guiding procurement in Ghana, the Procurement Act. So the Commission also recommends for further investigation and possible prosecution of the Board of Trustees of the National Cathedral, who apparently superintended over the award of the contract to Ribade Company, and this, they say, was in clear disregard to Act 663 as amended. Now, subsequently, I have to say the current Board of Trustees and then also at the time, against CHRAJ is saying, specifically, you go through their findings, it relates to those who were there at the time. All right. So they are supposed to be investigated. Board of Trustees includes Apostle Professor Boku Nyina. We have Archbishop Charles Palmer Barkle, Most Reverend Bishop Justice Akrofi, right? Even the Right Reverend Professor Emmanuel Mate, former moderator of the Presbyterian Church. All there as well. Ministry is directed at members of the board at the time, 2021. Let's come to the studio. So we asked the question that do you think this project needs to be continued, or what should we do with this? We also know that the issues of our double identities of Reverend Kusi-Boateng, etc., the CHRAJ specifically states that the petitioner did not provide the needed evidence, even though they had continuously impressed on him to do so. And so here we are. Well, this report just came out, and I have to ask Dennis, on the corridors of power, what's the response to this very findings of the Commission on Human Rights and Administrative Justice? Dennis.
Thank you very much, Roland. It's a good morning to your good listeners and viewers for wherever they are listening to us. We would come to the CHRAJ report and then we'll delve into it. But before we go into it, by way of information, it is also important that we share with the Ghanaian good people of Ghana that just yesterday, the President of the Republic commissioned 4 hospitals in an instant, in a day, in a single day. Sabronum Hospital was commissioned, CHRAJ Hospital was commissioned, Swami Hospital was commissioned, and Dobonso Hospital was commissioned. Yesterday, same day, the President of the Republic also commissioned the Atafua Owabi Bridge, which is quite a huge project. That's very dear to the good people of Ashanti region. Today and tomorrow, you would see more of the electric cars, which is a very innovative and strategic way of ensuring that the cost of transportation in our country comes down. They are in, and the launching is going to happen. Then my favorite is the outboard motors, the solar-powered outboard motors. For some of us who've lived a lot of our lives in the central region and know how the economy of the central region revolves around the purchases of premise fuel and what have you, you would see it happen. It's been tested, and then by the grace of God, our fisher folks would have access to the use of it, and then the free dialysis and what have you. I think that all of these underscores the government's commitment to ensure that the good people of this country have life and then have access to some safety net that support the citizens of the country. Whilst we get into the details of the National Cathedral issue, I want to state clearly that yesterday, I think that I got a report around 3 p.m., 4 p.m. there, but late in a little bit into the evening. And then we all know that the CHRAJ mandate emanates from Article 218, 247, and then 287, as enshrined in the 1992 Constitution. So it is not out of place for anyone to have an issue and want to go to CHRAJ for remedy. It is also not an issue for anyone to respond to issues of findings from CHRAJ. First of all, let us also take cognizance that in September, Deloitte Ghana issued a report on the activities and operations of the National Cathedral. And in the report of Deloitte, it was clearly stated that no adverse findings when it comes to financial, proprietary, or whatsoever, the actions of the Board of Trustees for the National Cathedral was found. I take cognizance of that because it is also an important and independent audit report that went not only to the 5 points raised by the Honorable Okujeto, but all other aspects pertaining to the activities of the National Cathedral and its board. The first issue that is raised by the report is where I will have some disagreement, and then I believe that the National Cathedral Board of Trustees is going to appeal this report, and I can say for a fact that they are going to appeal this report. That part, why am I saying that? That part impugns that the proprietary procurement impropriety. When you look at the article, Procurement Act 663 as amended in 914, there are certain things which do not go according to the law. I think that we need to first state that in the case of National Cathedral and Rebate Limited, when the contract was being entered into or executed, the National Cathedral was not a public institution. It is very important we state that. And hence, there is a limitation as to how the Procurement Act of this country can go into it. But if you go through the report from CHRAJ, it doesn't take cognizance of the date of the establishment of the National Cathedral and as against the contractual terms that exist between the National Cathedral and the Rebate. So you realize that before the National Cathedral became a public institution, by the outcry of the public and parliament, and then the need to ensure that there is a continuity of project by the National Cathedral, it was now transformed from a private run or a private registered entity to a public registered entity. So if the CHRAJ impugns or speaks to the issue of the Procurement Act being breached, then it becomes a problem because at the time of going into or entering into the contract, there was nothing like that. Then the Procurement Act now has limitations in that regards. That is one. Then two, I think that in as much as we want to look at the impropriety as cited by the CHRAJ report, we also need to look at where the CHRAJ report clearly says that the allegations leveled against the Minister of God is not true. I am not the PRO.
You mean Reverend Kusibwa?
Reverend Kusibwa.
About the double identities.
Yes. I think that the report, as you read, was very clear that he's not done anything wrong and that he does not have dual passport. It goes on to list the number of passports that he has had and clearly gives the names and identities under these passports and the issuance of these passports. I think that the first thing we need to do, as much as I'm not a PRO for the man of God, is that there is some decent apology that must go to the man by the honorable member of parliament.
There's a case in court subsequent to that.
But it limiting ourselves to the conversation on the table. That is the CHRAJ report. It is very important that if you level allegations against a person and then you are unable to prove or substantiate it, you apologize. That is what all decent people ought to do. It is not wrong to think that there is something wrong or fishy. The honorable member of parliament reserves that right and we give it to him. But upon the findings that is wrong, You do not come to your Facebook page and still insist upon knowing very well that your allegations is unsubstantiated, and the report duly acknowledges that it is unsubstantiated, and even goes further to give all the passports that has been given under the name of the Minister. Yes. So for me, the first thing that we need to set on the records is that the Deloitte report, as issued on the 24th of September.
What's your point? Are you laying credence and giving precedence to the Deloitte report than the findings of the Commission for Human Rights and Administrative Justice?
So it is important that we bring the Deloitte...
So the priority for the government of Ghana is to prioritize Deloitte over CHRAJ. So
you asked the question. It is important. Nobody is prioritizing Deloitte over CHRAJ. CHRAJ is an institution of state mandated by Article 218.247.287. Clear and final. Important that we note that. But CHRAJ has its own limits and limitations and what have you. CHRAJ has its mandate and what have you. But it is also important that we take cognizance of the Deloitte report. Why do we need to take cognizance of the Deloitte report? Because the Deloitte report was even much more comprehensive than the 5-legged allegations of the CHRAJ report. It is not to put aside the CHRAJ report, but it is also important, very, very important, for whoever wants to do a very important and detailed analysis of the issue to look at what Deloitte said, because we cannot brush Deloitte away. And two, we just oppose it to what CHRAJ is saying. Then the Board of Trustees have a right to appeal in the court of our laws and say that what you said does not take cognizance of the laws. What does the law say? The law does not subject private entities registered as private under the full or to the full rigors of Procurement Act 914. It does not. So it must be emphatically stated clearly that there is a distinguishing factor between how private...
I don't understand, because there are precedents or cases where, for example, the Auditor General's report, it cites a number of companies, including the Jospon Group, with their dealings with the Ministry of Health as well as the National Health Insurance Authority. And such entities are private entities.
So that
are doing business with government entities. So once you're doing government, the PPA Act...
Let's give explanation to that. It's not too difficult to understand. You cite Jospon. Jospon is a private. Then you cite their dealings with the national...
I'm only citing
a ministry
based on,
no, I'm coming
on an undertaking.
So then take your time and understand my point.
No. I'm not saying I misunderstand you. I'm only saying that considered view that you have, that if you're a private entity, you are not subject to the Procurement Act, cannot be true. Okay. Because we've had actions that have been taken against private entities.
So you're comparing an incident that is totally different from this.
No, I'm not talking about the incident. I'm talking about the specific nature of working with government entities.
And I'm saying that in that instance you cited, it was a private entity working with a government entity. But in this instance, when the contract was entered into, it was private entity entering into a contract with another private entity. So it is not subject to the full rigors of the financial of the Procurement Act. I'm not saying it's not subject to it entirely. It is not subject to everything in it. So there is a clear line of distinction, a line drawn.
Please inform me.
When you are dealing with private to private, the rules are different from when it is a public to private dealing. So you need to first of all abreast yourself or take cognizance of when the contract was being entered into, or when the contract was entered into, and the fact that surrounds that situation at the time. That then you ask yourself what happened last year and how did the National Cathedral metamorphosize into a public entity as stated by the CHRAJ report. So that is the distinction that we must lay clear and emphatic, and that is where I believe that the National Cathedral Board, as at the time that they were entering into the contract, did not err in that regards. That is my considered view.
Beatrice, as far as we were told that we were going to have seed money, or I'll say some investment made by the government of Ghana to this project, of course, we all know supposed to have been a private undertaking, then the interest of the taxpayers becomes paramount.
Roland, I think that if you are watching us this morning, you should be very worried for Ghana.
Why, Beatrice?
And the CHRAJ report makes me sick in my tummy. And I say this because with all the pain in me, you would normally realize that when we are going into an election, 2 weeks or 11 days into an election, what we will be discussing is what the government has done, given the resources, vis-a-vis what the opposition says it will do. And to all credit to our democracy, from 1992, there has been some high levels of discussion, especially in the last days to election.
What's your point with this?
My point is this, is that for us to be discussing National Cathedral this morning, it shows you the misplaced priority of this government. It shows you how this government has gambled with the future of the many people. And if you are watching me as a young person, you ought to be worried and sick in the stomach.
Because
the report by CHRAJ is telling us that the total sum that government intended to commit to this National Cathedral was $312 million and over. And so government knew from the time it awarded the contract to Ribadi that the total sum was above $312 million. And then they came to lie to the people of Ghana that they were only providing seed capital. In fact, they came from a position of we were not going to fund it with state resources to we were only providing seed capital to expending in excess of $58 million on this whole. It's not even a cathedral. And when I say this, you hear government communicators say that, oh, you know what? We disagree with the portion that says that they should be subjected to procurement and so many weak defenses when it comes
to... Well, the argument is a private entity.
See, maybe the person has not read the report of CHRAJ. I have with me here the report. The report says that the National Cathedral was incorporated as a private company limited by guarantee, with its sole corporate member being the Ghana Museum and Monuments Board, a government agency. And so although it was incorporated as a private company limited by guarantee, it was public in nature. But do you know the weakness in this argument? You have incorporated a private company and you are using public funds for the benefit of this private company. And you are saying that, oh, because it is incorporated as a private company, it is okay that we misuse public funds.
What's your point? That because we're using taxpayers' money?
Yes, it doesn't matter the nature in which it was incorporated. What the test is what is the source of the fund. And so you use our taxes. And you know, this thinking and logic is in tandem with how this government has shortchanged us in many corruption cases. This National Cathedral was only to swindle and dwindle God, use the name of God to enrich their...
Oh, Beatrice, how can you
let
say
me
that?
tell you. The
CHRAJ report, this was supposed to be a promise being made to God.
As for that president, he doesn't have integrity. Let's not talk about the president. This president, I don't know, even if you don't take it, you describe him in words you should never describe him in TV. So let me ignore the president. See, the CHRAJ report is telling us that the National Cathedral used in excess of 225 million cedis to just do site preparation, architectural drawing and whatever. Isn't it because they wanted to award Ajayi? I have built a house before, and everybody who has built a house knows that you don't pay an architect upfront before even the completion. So now that the architect has only dug a hole, are we going for our money from the architect? When you are supervising a building, you even pay in stages. So they only wanted to use this to enrich their cronies. Look at how the PDS scandal was incorporated. Private company was supposed to come and take over our assets. They then went to take a fake and fraudulent guarantee from a company called Alkut that never existed. And then they came to defraud us. Today, as we speak, all the light bills that we paid, we cannot find them. Look at how they incorporated Ejapa. Ejapa was supposed to be a certain company which will float shares. Look at the SML deal, where a private company was incorporated to siphon money from GRA.
Which is why I'm trying to draw an analogy
I'm trying to say that this National Cathedral is only part of a bigger scheme by this government to siphon state resources. So they move from church to electricity to our gold to every aspect. You should be sick in the stomach. This is not MPP NDC. You know, just by the National Cathedral, you have the Rich Hospital. The total cost of the CHRAJ hospital is $260 million. At the time when we were building the CHRAJ hospital, this government said that the CHRAJ hospital was so inflated. And I remember Dr. Baumia saying that they would have built a Dubai medical city. Today, you could not complete the phase 2 of CHRAJ hospital, but you were willing to invest $312 million in a national cathedral that has become a swimming pool. Yeah, UGMC, over a 612 bed or so, was $217 million. The cost of the National Cathedral outweighed the cost of the UGMC. It outweighed the cost of the Ghana Maritime Hospital, the Bank of Ghana Hospital, the Dodowa Hospital. These hospitals are mentioned.
I'm trying
to tell you that this government never had you and I in mind. Look at the Japadier document. For all intents and purposes, they intended that they will scam the people of Ghana. And I'm so sick in the stomach that women are lying on the floor. You say that you want to operationalize Agenda 111. Do you know that the cost of the National Cathedral could have built and operationalized 18 Agenda 111? Because by their own estimates, Agenda 111 was supposed to cost $17 million per hospital. So if you were to do the calculation, you even get change. 18 Agenda 111 in 18 different districts would have been operationalized. Today we are here with nothing to show. The new levels of law, and I don't know why this government, they can't hear anything, they can't see anything, they simply cannot hear any wrapping up. Look at us. The IMF is going to meet in December, and when they meet in December, do you know what they are saying? They want to give Ghana $360 million to help stabilize our economy. So we are going to the IMF for $360 million as part of our tranches we are to receive. And government was willing to commit in excess of $312 million into a national cathedral. If you are watching me this morning and you are undecided about voting against the MPP, then all is not well. This group of guys, they do not have the economy at heart. They do not have your health at heart. They do not have any aspect of your life. They want to enrich themselves at the detriment of the Ghanaian taxpayer. And then when you are asked, they'll tell you, oh, in accordance with this law, what have we breached? Roland, we are tired. We are tired of governments don't do anything. I'm sitting here, ask this gentleman, what is the record? What's one regional hospital? One regional hospital in 16 regions have they built.
Yesterday they inaugurated 4 hospitals. We covered it.
Polyclinic also, those are the things. You've had access to in excess of 1 trillion. You are telling me your economy is 1 trillion. This government has borrowed 620 billion more. And look at the new mediocrity. Look at what Nanado is going to commission bridges and things. The new law is the MPP. We must not allow this government to toy with our future. It is sick. We are tired, and the corruption stinks. Now you know, Roland, 1 minute. You know what this government has done? Yeah. They have just trapped all these men of God. Now they are saying that there should be a forensic audit and prosecute the likes of Duncan Williams. That he would admit. That's what CHRAJ is saying. What is their crime? They were running their churches. Duncan Williams and what's the name? Not Isu Anaba.
Opokunyina and the rest.
Oh,
Presby moderator.
The Lighthouse Chapel. Okay. That man has a bigger auditorium than the National Cathedral. Government just took the faces of these men of God, used them to gain whatever, and now look at them. They have even resigned. They are sick. This is tiring, and we must end it.
Daniel Sapong, if particularly you take a look at the recommendations of CHRAJ, that there should be prosecution because of the decisions that were accepted to be taken by these individuals on the board, then that is worrying. i.e., you'll find that there were payments that were made by the Controller and Accountant General on the instructions of the Finance Minister. $25 million, we have $32 million, we have $25 million, and in all, even the Finance Minister, during the period where he appeared before the Parliament Committee on the vote of censure, did say in all 339 million Ghana cedi paid, 58 million. would you say that this is prudently taxpayer money spent? And could we have better utilized that?
Roland, thank you, and good morning to your fine viewers and my colleagues here. It's a beautiful morning, and I think you did ask where Alan was. I said Eastern Region. I'm told he completed Eastern Region last night, and he's in Greater Accra this morning.
Okay.
And so that should be on record. And the campaign has been very good. Ghanaians have been listening to us, and you can feel the wind of change. And I'll reiterate the fact that 2nd December we are voting, doing the special voting, and the security agencies, we would encourage them to go out in their numbers and vote. And when they are voting, they should consider the Asieho for Alan Chamanten. We have very good policies for the security in terms of infrastructure, in terms of training, in terms of their welfare. And we assure them that during the tenure of Alan as president of Ghana, all of these agencies would have the best of the days. National Cathedral. Despite our prayers, best hopes and wishes, unfortunately, a needed audit to help restore public confidence and trust in this consequential project has not been enacted to the best of our knowledge. Since January 2023, we awaited news to no avail regarding the finding of the audit. We, therefore, regret that as a matter of conscience and faith, we hereby submit to you our resignation from the Board of Trustees of the National Cathedral. And this is a quote from the resignation letter that was co-signed by our two fathers, the Papa himself, Duncan Williams, and I think Daki Ward Mills also. And I just wanted it to be on public record and to remind Ghanaians that these men of God identified that there were certain things that were not going on right and that they needed to step aside since they had awaited audit and they themselves had requested for audit, and as Board of Trustees they never had any, and so they wanted to step aside. When David was making the pledge to God...
Which David?
It was a personal pledge on behalf of the nation, because at the time, Israel or David was at war. And when he needed God to intervene, he made a pledge and said that he would build a cathedral in honor of God if Israel did win the war. And he himself was not allowed to build the cathedral, but his son Solomon, whom he got out of the wedlock, was the one that built the cathedral.
What's your point with this?
The pledge to build the National Cathedral was not a pledge by Ghana. The pledge to build the National Cathedral was a personal pledge because an individual was seeking something from God and not the nation. And so we need to actually distinguish between what a personal pledge is as an individual and what a national pledge is, or what pledge you are putting in or making on behalf of the nation. And so we shouldn't be seated here discussing how much, whether or not the National Cathedral or the cathedral. I would always want to refer to it as the Cathedral, should be built by Ghana or by Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, the president. If you did listen to the president himself in 2016, 2017, 2018, he himself admitted that it was his personal pledge to God. We all make pledges to God. I have always had an issue, and this is something that happens in church most of the time. When people go to church with their wives, and then, you know, women are fond of making pledges. They, Beatrice. So they would raise their hands and go and stand in front of the altar and make pledges. And when they come home, they will come to the husband and say, "Okay, this is what Nana Addo is doing to us."
You mean he created liability in his promise to God?
Promise God to build him a cathedral. Personal pledge. Then you come back to us and say we should go and pay. $300 million. Roland. $300 million.
Plus.
I am a staunch Christian. I hold my Christian values up and high. In fact, greetings to my fathers. Prophet Maria, we are doing a 50-day fasting. So for yeah. Roland, we are playing with God.
We're making a mockery of God?
We are making a mockery of God. I am not against the building of the National Cathedral. And I am not against the building of any cathedral. We all contribute to the building and the business of the kingdom in our various churches. Hayward Mills of Light is no longer Lighthouse Chapel. I've forgotten the new name now. Of Lighthouse Chapel. That's a popular one we all know. I don't know if you've been to the Bree City. He's built a beautiful Christian museum cathedral
at the top there.
Yeah. That is an individual. Papa built his cathedral along the Spintex. That is an individual. If you go to Spintex, the prayer palace, they have a beautiful church there. That is an individual. They have made promise to God to do the work of God and to promote the kingdom of God. From their pocket and from their sons and daughters and from their colleague worshippers, they have built cathedrals. Why should the president's priority, personal priority, supersede national priorities? Roland, I do not want to go into this, but how much did the IMF give us to stabilize our economy? In quite recent times when we went to IMF.
Is it 360 or?
No, the first train, the total. No, I'm not talking. How much? You mean
so far?
Yes.
We've received in excess of over 600 million. Subsequent, the next tranche,
250.
250. So we expect by December we'll get the approval processes for the next tranche of some 300 and something.
We have been arguing in this country the economic difficulties we find ourselves. We are all young people. Let's be honest. People cannot feed 3 times a day. People are dying out of lack of drinkable water. The Ministry of Health could not get drugs out of the harbor because we did not have money to pay. Look at our roads. Roland, do you know how much the seed money, 225,962,500 Ghana cedis, could have done if we wanted to have agro parks, farm plantations in Ghana. Do you know how many of this we could have done? Traveling from Techiman to Tamale, the vast lands that are there. You know how much of these agro parks we could have had there? It's unfortunate. I am in a tight corner because, see, the men of God that are listed.
Can we have pictures of the Board of Trustees, CHRAJ, if it's possible?
These are...
Ani Asapo wants to refer to them.
Men of God that we grew up to meet. I'm very principled. It's difficult because, you know, things have been done behind their back, at their blind side, because they trusted people, because they felt this is a kingdom business, and for that matter, Dream Ketashisha will not be part of it.
Dream Ketashisha?
The corruption I'm making.
And now CHRAJ said they should be investigated.
And this is what is happening. Of course, I am confident that the few of them who foresaw the embarrassment and started questioning it and started asking questions, and when answers were not coming, decided to resign, would come out clean. We are speaking English here, Roland. The finance minister, Ken Oforiatta, are you trying to tell me that he didn't know that it was a private enterprise? When they were talking about government putting in a seed money, at the time, had it been made a state, whatever? Not Manchro. It's scary. Ken Oforiatta knew that they were going to transition from being a private enterprise to a state-owned enterprise. He knew. If he didn't know, he wouldn't have allowed the seed money being contributed by government to go through. Does government give seed money to private enterprises? Roland, we'll start here, journalist. Does government give seed money to state enterprises? To private-owned enterprises? So they knew that they could not, as individuals, afford the cost in putting up this edifice. And so at a point, we will transition and hand over the cost to the Ghanaian taxpayer. And so they decided to go through this process. This is pure thievery.
Pure thievery?
And with all due respect to the men of God, this was on their blind side. The technical men behind this, Ken and his team, they were aware of what they were doing.
What are you implying? That people need to be brought to book?
They went out there. Any government that comes into government, those technical men would take them up. Whether it is Alan Chomantin, whether it is John Mahama, whether it is Kofi Krantin, any person that takes over the seat of government needs to. We can't make a mockery of God. They went out there in the name of Ghana, trying to raise funds. At the time, I want to ask, had they transitioned from being a private enterprise being a state enterprise? We have young Ghanaian youth out there who were protesting for lack of jobs. This rice issue that came up, you think if we had enough money as a country, we would lack food, that we would go and bring in a certain type of rice and we'll be debating whether it is expired or not expired? Do you think that if we had prioritized our items very well as a nation from the seat of the president, my village in Dominacy where we had the SDA hospital that is almost going down, will not be rehabilitated? Let us be real with Ghanaians. Roland, this is pure TV3. And the MPP should not come. Their communicators should not come and sit on national TV and divest the issue. Now trying to put our attention on the fact that Kusi Boateng's passport, whatever. We are not talking about Kusi Boateng, whether he has 2 names or 3 names. We are talking about Ghana's money. All right. We are not talking about Deloitte. We are talking about CHRAJ's report that has come, and that CHRAJ is constitutionally mandated to investigate this. And CHRAJ is recommending that there should be a forensic audit. And that ought to be done.
Okay, Dennis.
They can't go away with these monies that they have disbursed. Okay? The finance minister at the time who was there, the accountant and controller general who was there, all right, the person who even actually typed the letter to attach that check to should have been patriotic enough to question the issuance of these monies. And Roland, if you're talking about corruption, I would tell Ghanaians, we need a leader that has personal integrity and a political will to be able to fight corruption at all angles and at all costs without fear.
Now, Dennis, so what action then will be taken following this? Because do I take it that government is now going to take a decision based on the Deloitte report instead of the latest CHRAJ report on this?
Before I speak to the comparative analysis that you draw into the
let's try to use 4 minutes so
yes,
that
we would finish it very soon. First of all, one thing has become very clear that my dear sister Beatrice is a legal person, and so you realize that she's no longer speaking to the report. She deflates the issues and speaks to other issues she brings up. Clearly, the report we have made it, the conversation has made it abundantly clear that the report fails to cover the issues of the time of entering into the contract and how it has the implications of Procurement Act 914 on it. But while she was speaking, she spoke about the issue of architects, no needing to pay architect before the construction, and then and then not needing to pay architect before the architect dug the hole. Let's do some little education. Architects don't dig holes. Architects don't go to the ground to do the project. There's a difference between architect and a contractor. The architect is for the design of the work, and then the contractor is for the construction of the work. When an architect is paid for his work of design, he's paid for his work of design, and that is the duty of Ajayi. So if you draw Ajayi into this, you must contextualize it. I am into construction, so the business of construction should not be brought to the table to obfuscate matters. Let us make it clear and educate ourselves. The architect does not do digging of holes. No. Now let us also take our issue.
You're into the business of construction.
Yes.
I think that is good. Hold
on.
So a payment subsequently also cited by CHRAJ made in excess of over 25 million USD, subsequently also authorized by the Office of the President. It's cool. It's okay.
No, so you throw around the figure.
For a drawing.
No, hold on. You throw around the figure. I'm coming. You asked me the question. Let me speak to
I'm asking you a specific question.
Yes, I heard it. Don't repeat it. I heard it. I'll take it for you. So the parallels I drew here is to give an education on.
No, we understand.
I'm coming. On the issue of misrepresentation and miseducation by Beatrice, that the architect dug the hole. And I'm saying it is not true. That is not what is done. The issues of the money and the value for money, that is your own view. And I leave you to it. Now let me speak to the issue of integrity raised by Beatrice here. Beatrice talks about Nana Akufo-Addo not having integrity, but gladly comes to represent a John Dramani Mahama who receives Ford as a gift. A John Dramani Mahama who's under auspices, the Office of Maslow operated and said in Namtamakulu, bundled 96 million of market women's money and squandered it and has been convicted by a competent court of jurisdiction. She defends a John Dramani Mahama who was investigated by his own president. The legendary Akar and John Rawlings relationship did not even call for an investigation into one's own vice president. That is the lowest sinking level of anyone.
Let's come to the straight end.
We will come to the straight.
So that we don't go into tangent.
Hold on. When she was bringing it, you allowed her. Let me deal with it. Now she talks about the new law of commissioning at Atafua Bridge. Let me tell you how important the Atafua Bridge is to people of Ashanti region. 4 people perished in flooding as a result of the Atafua Bridge. So she thinks that it is so low that a bridge of that magnitude has been built. But it is not low for John Dramani Mahama, her president, to share headpans, drive 17 V8 to go and share headpans. And that is not me saying. This is John Dramani Mahama sharing headpans. And I like it when we do this to the issues. This is John Dramani Mahama sharing headpans. Headpans, that is not low. That is the bottom pit of low. So let's not bring it. He drove 10 V8 to Adan to go and commission a 6-unit classroom block. That is not low. That is under the pit. So let's not even bring it in. And then she talks about hospitals. My dear Beatrice, you are a very beautiful person. Don't do this on hospitals again. Never do issues on hospitals. The Kontombra Hospital, the Bogoso Hospital, the Empoho Hospital, the Veta Hospital, Swami Hospital, Dobonso Hospital, Chedie Hospital, Sabrunum Hospital, the Urology Center, all commissioned under His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. He should have it that in a single day, he commissioned 4 hospitals. Name one hospital aside Dodowa that Mahama operationalized. And in Ashanti region, 0. So you talk about the issues of hospital. It was something she shouldn't have gone there because the hospital scorecard of John Dramani Mahama, it's only one that she operationalized. Now let's back to the issue.
He built only one hospital.
He commissioned only one hospital. And quote me well. Only one, Dodowa, only one did he operationalize in this country. Operationalize only one.
Okay.
Only one. And in Ashanti region, 0. In Ashanti region, 0.
Now
so let's not even go there. And then my senior Sapon speaks about agric enclaves. Maybe you are not aware. Get to Kasunya Dadupe, an agric enclave that covers 1,000 acres.
What Nana Sapon said.
The problem is that when they all...
What Nana Sapon said was that the, so to speak, funds that have been pumped, being taxpayers' money, into the National Cathedral project could have been used for some other project, specifically as he mentioned. He has not said that the government has not built other projects.
So this is what Nana could have done to
Please answer my question.
Yes, I'm coming.
Please answer.
I may not have the chance
let's not get into the tangential. Dennis, I'm saying let's not get into the tangential.
The point is that once you allow...
cannot spend 4 minutes of your time, and you have a minute more after that, I go to Beatrice.
Okay, Roland, you know why it is important?
So you have a minute.
You know why it is important?
No, Dennis, I will allow you to make the statement. I'm saying 1 minute more.
No problem.
Because you refuse to answer my question, and you are going the tangential.
No problem, Roland.
Very good.
You bring a report to the table. Members of the panel decide not to go on the report because we point clear legal issues, and they speak to some issues, and I do not have the right to speak to them. I have.
I have not said you
do you
don't
know why? I have because on this panel, on this table, on this desk, we have so many good news running around this country over the week. On this table, we do not have a single one. All we are speaking to is the negativity of it. So if I come and I bring...
What do you mean by
I'm coming. Roland, let me.
Yesterday...
Roland, let me.
Yes.
Roland, let me.
Yesterday,
you give me just 1 minute.
No, please. You've already used 40 seconds.
So let me finish my 15 minutes.
Yesterday, we comprehensively covered the president commissioning hospitals. Indeed, I even approved the stories. It was from Ibrahim Abubakar. Indeed, over the last couple of days, if you monitor content on TV3, great. Because that is what you are saying.
No, that it means
that's what you're saying. You have 20 seconds.
No, it means you did not listen.
After that, I go to Beatrice.
All I said was that we have had issues introduced by the panel. And so it is important and relevant. I speak to it. Now to the issue of the amount spent on it. The Deloitte report that spoke to the issues of the amount appropriated and expended has been clear. The CHRAJ report does not speak to the value for money circumstances of this. So it is difficult you bring and subject me to sit on the table and discuss the value for money on the issue. What I know is that on this table, we've been able to establish clearly that an apology is worth it to the Reverend Minister who was wrongfully accused on the subject. I didn't say it. The CHRAJ report that we are referring to said it.
Your time is up.
It is also important that the private...
That's the point you are reiterating. Please, you have 4 minutes on this. Money well spent.
I don't have 4 minutes. He spoke for 9
No, you have 4 minutes.
9 minutes. That's not fair. The first
should we now go a step further to have a forensic audit made on the accounts and the operations of the National Cathedral
I think that Dennis is very jittery. And Dennis,
I'm here.
no, please. I never interrupted you. Please.
Let's not have interjections.
You spewed very worse things. I kept quiet because I wanted to have my piece to speak. So please keep quiet. You know, this MPP government is not only useless, they are practically not fit for purpose. These are a group of people who can't do anything on their own. Their cause of mismanagement is either John Dramani Mahama, Russia, Ukraine, or COVID. This is a man that they have spent more than 12 years smearing. And every time their speaking point that Richard Ahiagba gives to them, which Dennis this morning has regurgitated, is that President Mahama's advice was investigated, took forth bribe. How useless are you that after 8 years, the man is walking free? That you are a government and you are serious. And the president has come and you allege that he has done certain things which are bad. And you sit with all the government machinery. You ought to be called a useless government then. That after 8 years, the man is working squeaky clean. He is winning the next election and you do not have a message for the people. You should be worried. As a young man, ask him where he has worked before after school.
What's the point with that?
Ask him.
Oh. Let's not go
the
personal.
The reason why he will not be able to answer that question.
Let's not go personal.
I will be able to answer it. It's so way better than you.
No, he can't.
No. She shouldn't even try
with some of this.
No. She shouldn't.
She should
stick to the script.
No, please.
If you attempt anything,
don't interact.
Let's not go personal.
So she should correct us.
I'm not going personal.
Let's not go personal.
I'm not going personal. I'm making this point to link it to the unemployment situation in the system.
And you have the temerity to question where I've worked before.
Dennis, please.
She should take that one back.
Dennis, please.
Roland,
I said, let's not have
what's wrong if I ask where have you worked?
If you work
at it is none of your business.
You just answer you work at
It's none of your business.
So you have 3 minutes to wrap up.
I'm making this point to show you that this morning, many young people watching us have no hope. Many are reeling under the pain of unemployment. The Ghana Statistical Service is telling us that more than 14.7% of young people can't find job. You know what it means? If you take every 3 young people, 1 person cannot find job. Those who are even working, because of the high inflation, the high economic condition, high food prices, those people cannot afford the basic necessities of life. And so when we have a discussion like this, that $312 million was intended to be used on a national cathedral, the discussion cannot be limited to what we are being invited to discuss. Let me tell you something. He says that if you're an architect, you don't dig holes. I never said architect dig holes. If you're an architect, you supervise the working phases. And so nobody will pay you till the project completion. Okay. Especially when even in this case, we are told that even before the project will be completed, there was a change in scope and CHRAJ charged additional fees. So that cannot be accurate. But let me show you. Everybody watching me should be worried about the misplaced priority of government. You know why? Roland, in the 2022 budget, this government brought a program called You Start. And this government said that it was going to expend 1 billion cedis to provide jobs for young people. The government itself said that they will allocate 300 million cedis, not dollars, 300 million cedis as seed capital to support this You Start. In fact, you heard it everywhere under the Obatampa project. Did you not hear the Obatampa project? We are here 2 years down the line. The government could not raise 200 million to support young unemployed people. The government is able to raise in excess of 225 million for digging of hole. And we are being told that, you know what, let's distinguish between the scope of an architect as against the future of young people.
We should speak to the subject.
We are speaking to the subject because it's an issue of limited resources and ranking your needs, which is called scale of preference. This government cannot pay NAPCO trainees every time we come on air, NAPCO trainees will be sending us message, which will speak for us. But some way, somehow, you have found money, which the CHRAJ report is telling us that we should prosecute people. This government has not been able to place nurses who completed the nursing training from 2021 because we are told that they don't have financial clearance yet. Everything is not well with the economy. Young people cannot find jobs. Many people are reeling under the economic hardship. When some of these things happen, you know what a sensitive government will do? The sensitive government will accept blame and even urge people to say that remain calm. Maybe we will investigate. Maybe we got this wrong. But what do we expect from a government that served expired rice to children and telling us that we should be grateful the rice are even nutritious or they are not poisonous? The center cannot hold. This government has become a criminal organization with the intent, yes, with the intent of siphoning our resources. They have siphoned everything. This is the only government that has borrowed so much and have nothing to show. This is the only government.
Yes. Hospital.
Let me conclude.
Group of them yesterday.
You should be worried about the logic of the MPP. This is a government that is telling you that you should be grateful that you are buying $1 at 17 cedis because it is better than when it was 4 cedi. That it is better for you to buy Kenke at 5 cedis than 1 cedi. It is better to buy fuel at 72 cedis than 14 cedis. How else do you think that they will justify this expenditure on National Cathedral? First of all, if the thing started as a pledge, or a personal pledge of the president, and you were even changing it, or you had even expended money, we expect that the president will swallow some form of, pride and say that maybe we got it wrong. But this is a government that says that we see no wrong, we hear no wrong, we do no wrong, and whatever it is, we will defend the wrong. But in concluding, I'm saying that my sympathies lies with this men of God. These men of God, you see that they even resign honorably. Duncan Williams and Isud Anaba and all those astute men of God who resign honorably. Because
they're supposed to be investigated according to CHRAJ.
Exactly, that is what CHRAJ. But I say that these men of God did nothing wrong. They only used them to cover up, the National Cathedral.
Yes.
The National Cathedral.
Same thing,
the National Cathedral was just a money laundering scheme. And then, do you know what money laundering is? Do you know what money laundering is?
Define it for me.
Do you know what money laundering is? When they want to use or they want to take monies, which originally you will not be allowed to take, but they use some other means to take it. So let me conclude and say that if you're a young person watching me, and 11 days, Roland, let me conclude. If you're young,
I give you 1 minute.
Yes, you give him 9 minutes. So let me conclude.
She's a lady.
Yes, thank you. You see, Roland, if you're a young person watching me, if you're a woman, if you're a single mother, wherever you are and you are watching me, and 11 days to a crucial election such as 2024, the discussion is not about what government is doing to make your life better or what government will do to alleviate the hardship, but the discussion is about government justification as to why they should use 200+ million as seed capital at a time when women are giving birth on the floor, at a time when in Dr. Baomia's hometown children are writing on their belly, at a time when the Damongo and Yendi water projects are uncompleted, at a time when you have not added 1 gallon to the national production and the John Mahama you vilified added 77 million gallons. The two are not the same. Ghanaians have a choice to make between a leader who will construct a national cathedral or a children's specialist hospital. Ghanaians have a choice to make between a leader who will construct road and a leader who will dig a road. And I think that this choice is obvious. And any well-meaning Ghanaian must make that choice.
The government commissioned hospitals yesterday. So sometimes let's...
Which hospitals? The government commissioned...
We covered it yesterday. I give you 4 minutes because you are a gentleman.
My flag bearer Alan Chomantin has been the finest political gentleman in Ghana. You understand? And so anybody from the Afro-Franto fraternity is a fine gentleman and a lady. Roland, you can't take your eyes off. Look into my eyes. I'm talking to you. But you see, after being in power for close to 8 years, And in your last days, when Ghanaians are going to vote against you and bring the likes of Alan Tramantin to be president, and you go around to commission hospitals, I think that we should be concerned. We should be concerned. Roland, we have hospitals that are built, and I always ask, after those facilities are commissioned, are they operationalized? I don't know if your cameras were able to capture the entire facility and to see whether or not it will be put into operationalization in the next day or two.
I don't understand. You want commissioning or working?
Why? We have commissioned a lot of facilities that have been left in the bush to rot. Because there have not been installations of equipments and machines that can make the facility useful. So my question is, were your cameras able to capture it? If yes, we move on. If no, God have mercy on us. But you see, when Alan is proposing building an enterprise economy, all right, when Alan is proposing the creating of jobs for the Ghanaian youth, when Alan is proposing apprenticeship programs where we would be able to give the young Ghanaian job after school, when Alan is proposing policies that would put food on the table of the ordinary Ghanaian, we have the opportunity to sit on national television and then we are debating on whether or not an architect digs a hole or an architect draws on paper.
Or supervises a building.
Roland, Dennis made a point, and I want him to understand that anytime I have gone on programs like this, I am very careful in how I debate my issues, because it is just by grace that we are seated here. We are not knowledgeable than the people out there.
What's your point with this?
I spoke to the issue of the report directly. Okay. I mentioned the fact that CHRAJ had the constitutional mandate to do what they did, and that the fundamental of it all was that the contract was illegal. The contract. The noise we are making here, whether 2 passports were issued, whether a hole was dug, whether whatever that happened. Lawyer for Mobo say prima facie.
Yes.
On the surface of it, CHRAJ has told us that the contract is illegal. And for that matter, there is a need for a forensic audit. 1. 2, for us to look into whether or not the said illegal contract was by corrupt means. Now, these are 2 different issues. And I even want to ask CHRAJ, after all the evidences and exhibits they had gathered, they still want to say that the special prosecutor should do further investigations to know whether or not there were corrupt activities in it. Adabraka.
It's a recommendation.
Adabraka.
What are you saying? They're trying to be just politically correct?
If you steal this phone and I come with the police and the phone is in your house, you have stolen. It is not yours. You have taken the thing. Then you say, don't prosecute. Do further investigations to see whether or not the phone was stolen. This is clear. This is very clear. It is pure thievery. And I didn't want to go into the issues of money laundering. But there is an item of it in it. And as clearly defined or described, What they do is that they create projects. They create projects. And the projects allow them to bring in funds which, under normal circumstances, you will not be allowed to bring in. Where we have gotten to, it is bread and butter issue. The initial seed money, and let me quote it in dollars for you to understand, so that you will know that the 225 million Ghana cedis is not mere money. It is 13,291,911 million dollars. I didn't grab my It's $13 million plus. Roland, do you know how we can pack this money in this studio? $13 million. We were chasing somebody for $3 million in a room. Who? So imagine 13 million. Please, let us be honest. Now, what we are saying is this, that where Ghana has gotten to, if you will notice, almost all the political parties, except for Alan Chiramanten, has refused to talk on the issues of corruption, have refused to talk on the issues of economy. People who hold PhD in economy are now doing computerization.
Who are you referring to?
People who were giving lectures on dollar rate. Now the dollar is 17 Ghana cedis plus. Roland, Ghana needs a change. And I'll look into your cameras and appeal to Ghanaians. We are all Christians. We all want the house of God to be built. We all want the kingdom business to go on. But we also want food on our table so that we can eat and come to church. And if you want that to happen, please, this MPP government is not going to help us. And it would be an indictment on Ghana and on Ghanaians if we bring back any of these political parties that have not helped Ghana in the past 32 years.
I have a couple of messages. This one is coming from Kofi Osei in Inshaya. So Kumasi, thank you for the message. It says that if you take a look at the project that have been commissioned over the last couple of weeks, it shows that Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia has helped the president, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, to work. That is why the MPP will be elected. And then we have a couple more. This one is coming from Francois. So I like this Alan's guy. Very cool and speaks a lot of sense. Hey. La ilaha illallah. And then...
Why do you want to tell the guy I'm not a gentleman?
And then this one is coming from Nathaniel, who says, tell the MPP guy that the hospital at Akontombra, Mpoho, Wasa Dunkwao, Bogoso, and Swayem, and the Lubo Hospital were built and handed over to Ghana by Vamed Health Projects. Okay, point made. And then also, let's tell you, Dennis, thank you. And then also, Nani Al-Sapong, Lawyer Beatrice, thank you for coming as well. Now, step into the world of Dewa 539 Chop Money for your chance to win big with Dewa Direct and Dewa Chop Money. And with Dewa Direct, you dial *446#, you pick the range of the numbers 1 to 39, and then you get to win big. So you're going to win 20 times, 40 times, 400 times your stake. And you also get to win cash every evening at 7 p.m. and on Sundays at 6 p.m. Now, early birds also love Dewa Chop Money. And at 10 a.m., you have to dial *446#. Again, you choose the range of the numbers. You'll get to win them multiple times. You can also log on to the portal dewa-nla.com and you get to play as well. We have also cash out *439#. You choose option 2. And subsequently as well, you choose TV3. You increase the number of the options that you have when it comes to the tickets. And we have a couple more as well. And so, Helda Bwedi, good morning to you, wherever you find. And then also Vera Iduam in Cape Coast, CHRAJ. I wish you all the best for the day as well. We are taking a break, but we have great discussions coming up right here. We have Women's Manifesto as well as many others and sports. Stay with us. We'll be right back.